All right, I am live. I know I'm late. It's 1:30 in the morning, 12/23, 2023. After a fun-filled night of shopping with the family for the holidays and doing other shit around here, I'm finally live. Sorry if I missed anybody, but we'll go over the true crime events of the week. Also, going to try to go over the uh, Evansdale case by kind of popular request. So let me start my intro and I will be right back. Okay, so here we are. Hope everybody had a good week. It's been it's been one of those uh, stress-filled. I mean, I don't get stressed out. I get kind of stressed out, but I don't get like, you know. Anyways, it's just me and my bird hanging out here. Um, so it's all good. The good news is it's all going to be over soon. So I mean, hey Southern Gal, how are you? Sorry I missed your live. I was out shopping with the kids and the family earlier. That's why I'm on so late here tonight. Um, but I'm here. I got my coffee. I haven't spilt it yet. Hey Miranda, how are you? Good to see everybody here. So what I thought we'd do is I'm going to try to go over the Evansdale thing um, tonight a little bit, and then we'll kind of probably end it with whoops, I don't want that one. The true crimes of the week. A couple of crazy things going on. So let's do that. I hope everybody's having a good week. Like I said, I'm sorry I'm late. It's just been one of those days. I do my shopping very last minute, so it's my fault. But I'm here. So let's go over this here. I did a couple of lives. I think I did 3 lives already on Evansdale way back. I think it was last year. But yeah, I think Miranda Lee had requested doing this. So um, let's check this out here. All right, here's this. I'll share this here. I'll have to. What I'm going to do here is eventually I'll go and watch the replay, Southern Gal. I know you did a live earlier about this here, but let's do this here. Let me present this here first. If anybody wants to come up, let me know because more feedback is good. So first thing I'm going to say is I'm just a nobody, really. I don't know how these things go. Everything I pretty much say is pretty much just opinion. It's not fact based. I have no training whatsoever in anything, but I do know a little bit. What I thought we'd do is go over the whole rundown of this here. So it was 10 years ago. This was done July 13th, 2022. This is not the exact page that I want, but we'll just do a little bit of reading here. It was 10 years ago in July 13th. 10-year-old Lyric Cook Morrissey and 8-year-old Elizabeth Collins went out for a bike ride in Evansdale, Iowa, and never returned home to their families. 5 months later, on December 5th, 2012, hunters in the Seven Bridges Wildlife Area of rural Bremer County came across two bodies, which were eventually identified as Elizabeth and Lyric, found approximately 25 miles from the Black Hawk County location where they originally went missing. All right, so let's, give me 2 seconds. I'm going to go to a map. I have this all somewhere, but it'd take me too long to find it. Evansdale. Okay, so we're going to go to no one has been charged yet or arrested for these crimes. However, the investigation into the girls' unaliving continues 1 decade later. Out of dog determination to understand the truth of what happened to Lyric and Elizabeth. Local, state, and federal investigators have worked together to solve this case since that time. And as the case progressed into a long-term investigation, what is this here? So these are the tip lines here. I should probably put this somewhere in here. There's that. So let me go to a different page here. Stop sharing this. There's a lot of the good news about this case here is there's a lot of information about this case. So out there. Let me. I'm trying to go to the right here. Okay. All right. Let me share this here. This is kind of how I did it before. Okay. So this is the page that I wanted to be at here. How I try to do these things is I try to go back to the beginning. The beginning is always important, right? What was said, what was done early on, the witness people, the witness statements, all of that stuff. So so here's this. This is Elizabeth June Marie Collins 8 and Lyric Ray Lynn Cook Morrissey 10. They went missing from Myers Lake. So let me put that in here. Give me a second here. Oops. All right. And then we're going to put in directions. All right, so that's the starting point there. They went missing from Myers Lake Friday, July 13th, 2012 in Evansdale, Iowa in Black Hawk County. The bodies were found at Seven Bridges Wildlife Park. So let's put that in there. So there's that. Hi, Miracle Hearts. How are you? Yeah, no kidding. Almost, right? It's here. It's on us. It's on a weekend too, which is good. Okay, so let's get out of here. We'll go back to this, obviously. All right. So this is where they were found. I mean, this is where they were here, Myers Lake, and then they were found all the way up here. So it's about 26 minutes, 29 minutes if you go this way here. So this is where they were found, Seven Bridges. Let me go to layers here. And this is how I had done this before. Whoops. So here's Myers Lake, and then they were found up here, 26. You know, there's a lot of different routes you can take here to get there. Right in here. And I'll go to that in a little while, but let's get out of the map and continue reading. This is just for people who, you know, might not have heard about this. And then I'll play some date. So what they have here is the date of unalivings is June 13th, 2012. That's what this is. And this is this is Iowa cold cases. So I'm assuming that this is correct, right? So they put the date of unalivings the day they went missing. So I'm not sure if this is accurate or not, but I don't think it would be on here if it wasn't. And that's this is the reward stuff here. This is the two girls, Elizabeth and Lyric. Crime Stoppers, if you have any tips. Okay, so this is the important stuff here. Lyric, 10, and her cousin Elizabeth Collins were reported missing to the Evansdale Police Department in Evansdale on Friday. The girls were seen at about 12:23 on July 13th on Brogan Boulevard in Evansdale. So let's go there. Hold on a second. Hold on a second. What did I just say, Brogan Boulevard? I know it's sad. It's just terrible. Every time I go over this case, it just okay. So here's Brogan Boulevard, and I'm going to try to do. I'm really, really awful at this. I just want everybody to know that. So here's Brogan Boulevard, right? I think this is right. Yep. Okay. So that's where they were last seen. Is on this road. That's what this says, anyways. They were last seen The girls were seen at about 12:23 on July 13th on Brovin Boulevard in Evansdale, and then spotted between 12:30 and 1 p.m. on Gilbert Drive. All right, so let's go to Gilbert Drive. Nope. We go right up there. I don't want to go up there. All right, hold on a second. Stop. Where the hell am I? Gilbert Drive. Trying to get on the actual road here. I think we did it. And what I did is before is I went up and down all of these roads here. There's Lake Ave right there. So here's Myers Lake. So we have to go the other way. This literally took me hours to do before. Okay, so bear with me here. So we're going. And I need to go this way. Okay, we're getting there. It's right there. Okay, so this is the trail here. All right, so let's go back to Gilbert Drive. Did I just go past it? Yep. Okay, so anyways, they were last seen on Gilbert Drive here. So says here, and then spotted between 12:30 and 1 p.m. on Gilbert Drive, not far from Myers Lake, a popular fishing and recreation center in northeastern Iowa. About 4,700 people. So this to me is the most important thing in this whole case is the bikes and Elizabeth's purse were later found on a trail on the southeast corner of Myers Lake at about 4 p.m. the same day the girls went missing. But there were no clues as to where their whereabouts. So I'm going to try to get on the trail again here. I'll find it. Very good. I did it. Okay, so this is the trail here. And we're going to go. I think I might be going the wrong way. Okay, I am going the wrong way. I'm actually on the wrong spot. Okay, so here we are. Okay, so this is the part of the trail here. And this, when was this one? This was done in 2020. So here's the fence. Okay, we're perfect now. All right. So if you notice here, let me go back to my page here. This is really strange to me where there's all this open area in here, right? It's a house there. I can get rid of this now. I mean, this is all open. Here's the fence here. I mean, this is all backyard here. You know, if you look here, and this was, you know, this was in July, so there must have been somebody must have been out here, right? You would think, or people walking this trail. So we're going to go. And this is the choke point that Steve's talking about in here. This is the fencing, right? So in here, you're probably not going to be able to see a lot. And there's these people that I pass all the time. Okay, so we're here now. So this is pretty much these trails are always target, unfortunately. Yeah, hopefully they can update all of them with video surveillance and monitoring. You would think, hey, necessarily, hey, buddy, how are you? Trying to go over the Evansdale case here. All right, so there's two things I don't know. Well, there's a lot of things I don't know about this case. Okay, but there's those people I always see. But this is done. This was done December 20th. So I don't know if this is actual correct. Because if this is December, then this. If this was done in December, then this looks nothing like this. I'm assuming this is, I don't know, at least July or August. This was done. Although this is, I don't know when this was done. Anyways, so there's two things I don't know about in this case here, and I think it's probably the most important thing is how the bikes were found. Right? It's always bothered me with this thing here. and I have no information. I don't know if the bikes were parked, if the bikes were leaning, if the bikes just were there, on their pedals. I don't know how they were left, but I think the bikes are important in this case. Um, were there any, was there any damage to the bikes? Were they just kind of left leaning against the fence here? If anybody knows any of that information, let me know. But that's a key in this case here. As far as I'm concerned, the bikes and how they were left are very important. And I don't know if anybody did any fingerprinting here on this gate, because I'm assuming if they had walked into this part here, if there were any, because I know they drained the lake, right? They drained this Myers Lake, and I don't know why they did that. They must have thought they might have gone in here somewhere. So, because they're not going to get, this other side is completely fenced. And I know there was a pocketbook that was thrown over here. So my take is something had to have happened in here for them to worry about this lake. I know there were boats out here. They were searching in and around here. I know you can get a little boat out in here, but I wonder if there was any footprints in here that they could have taken as evidence, and maybe dusting this thing for fingerprints. Also, the bikes. I wonder if they, had any hits on the bicycle. Who touched the bicycles? But I think it's very important that this, the way the bikes were left here, because I don't think the bikes were staged. I don't think they staged the bikes at all. So, I'm assuming that they probably, stopped here and maybe went in here to see if they could see some fish or something, or just hang out here. But I want to go back to this thing here. Yes, I agree. They should have tested the bikes for prints and DNA. They should have also tested the bikes for damage. Like if they, let's just say, for instance, they were, driving their bikes and all of a sudden they came upon some people and they had to swerve or something. I wonder if there was any, dents in the bikes, or if they were prone, if the girls were prone to, put their bikes kickstands down or whatever. I think that's a huge thing in this case of how those bikes were left here. So let's go back to the, we'll leave this here trail, but I just wanted to get down to this part here. Because there was something that was said about some sort of a Ford Bronco or something that was parked, at this end here. But I don't know how reliable that is. It was kind of parked over here on Arbutus Ave. I think it was, well, let's go back to this anyways here. Does that make any sense? Yeah, I think it's obvious a secret. It's obviously been a secret from the public, but I think I don't think this is a. I think this case is very similar to Delphi in that I don't think this is a DNA case. Same with Delphi. I don't think Delphi is a DNA case either. I mean, I think they have DNA, but it's just it's too much DNA. I mean, maybe in the future, maybe when they can separate DNA, and like I was just talking about a couple of days ago, they just, they had a case of a missing, an unalive elderly lady like 30 years ago. They just solved it like 2 weeks ago because of DNA advancements. I forget her name. She was So who knows? But at this point, I don't think this is a DNA case. This is, I think something was missed early on in this case, very, very early on. Okay, so their bikes in Elizabeth's purse were found on the trail, later found on the trail at the southeast corner of Myers Lake at about 4 p.m. So the bikes were found that day at 4 p.m. So it's my opinion that at 1 p.m. they were last seen at 1 p.m. and the bikes were found at 4 p.m. So it's hard for me to believe that those bikes were put back there later on in the day. But they could have been, but I just don't see that as possible. The girl's grandmother, Wilma Cook, told the press she last saw the girls riding their bikes near downtown Evansdale at about 12:15 p.m. that day. So her grandmother saw them about 15 minutes before the girls were last seen on Broven Boulevard in Evansdale. But they were last seen technically between 12:30 and 1 p.m. So that's a big difference, 12:30 and 1 p.m. And then on Wednesday, December 5th, 2012, hunters came across two unalive bodies in the Seven Bridges Wildlife Park near Redland in Bremer County. So what I'm going to do here is all right, so let's I want to take a look at this video right here. So this is this is the father of one of the Evansdale. I believe this is. Hold on a second. This is Elizabeth's dad. He's great guy, and I'm going to play this. Yeah, I think DNA is a possibility, but I don't think it's going to be the make or break in this case. I do think that the Seven Bridges Wildlife Park, I think that was they were dumped there to throw this investigation off. That's just my opinion. All right, so I'm going to play this here. So this is an interview with I forget his name now, Dale, I think. And here we go.
I just got my Venom Power Terra Hunter XT tires in from Tire Agent. These things are...
On this night 10 years ago, the investigation was beginning into what happened to two cousins.
You know why I'm getting those advertisements for tires? Drew. That's right. Drew is his name. Sorry. What did I say? Dale? Thinking about another case. Oh my God. I'm getting a lot of tire ads because I'm constantly buying tires. All right. So this is an interview that was done with Drew. This was done, I think it was done last year. So let's check this out.
Who disappeared on a bike ride in Evansdale.
And we would soon see the flyers with their pictures, hear the pleas from parents hopeful for the safety of 10-year-old Lyra Cook Morrissey and 8-year-old Elizabeth Collins. As KCR TV9's Nicole Agee explains, Elizabeth's dad is confident investigators can still solve this case.
Drew Collins told me he would sit in his front yard every night, hoping Elizabeth would come home. And now he has hope that investigators will solve this case and arrest the person or people who killed her.
It feels like it was yesterday to me. Like it might as well have been yesterday. That's all I think about. So, July 14th.
Do you have any theories on what happened?
Absolutely. I have quite a few people of interest. Just from what people have told me, nothing that police have told me, because the police have told me nothing. So everything that I really know or heard is rumors. So I have a couple different ideas of what might have happened.
What has your communication been like with police, DCI, those connected to the case in the last really 9 years?
I talk to the police a lot. They call me or I call them. So it's pretty open dialogue with them. They can't tell me any specifics. They try to tell me generally what they're working on, but no details. They don't tell me if somebody's a suspect or not.
Do you think that person is near here?
Absolutely. They're right underneath us somewhere. It's probably
I specifically think in this case here that law enforcement knows who did this. They just don't have enough information to prove it. That's my gut feeling on this. But then again, what the hell do I know?
probably somebody that nobody would notice. They're used to seeing them. So if they saw them that day, they wouldn't have thought nothing about it. Probably somebody like that.
What makes you say that?
Nobody saw nothing. Really. And it was at lunchtime on a summer day. So I think it's probably someone from around here. They have to know the park here. They have to know the entrance or the exit to this park, and they have to know Seven Bridges. Just not anybody's going to know them places. The Seven Bridges especially. It's so remote. It's in the middle of nowhere. It has to be somebody local. No one's gonna drive that direction looking for a place to take the girls and go, oh, I'll go here. It was somebody that went to Seven Bridges because they knew how remote it was, and they knew they could at least get them there.
See, I think the whole Seven Bridges, Iowa is a pretty sparse place. So you think, is whoever did this could have put them anywhere, right? I mean, why put them there? I mean, that's my. We'll go to Seven Bridges Wildlife Park soon, but why there? Why would somebody put them there? In my opinion, it's probably to throw off investigators as like, this is the place where they were found, right? This has got to have something to do with it. But I think the people who did this, or the person who did this, probably knew of the place, but I don't think it has anything to do with the case. I think it's just a way to throw investigators off, to kind of throw them down on like a wild goose chase.
And be safe, they would be safe. So it has to be somebody local.
What would be, if you could share a message with that person, what would you say?
If I could talk to that person or those people, I would just tell them, like, technology is on our side. Time is on our side. Every night when you close your eyes, you don't know if tonight's gonna be the night that they knock on your door, but we're coming for you. And I'm not gonna stop. And I don't think these police are gonna stop either. We've got too much invested. The police have spent more on this case, I think, than any other case in Iowa history. We have a lot invested. The city has a lot invested. The people here want this person to be in prison. So nobody's stopping. We're just getting going.
How has it changed you as a person and really as a dad?
I know I'm a lot different. I'm probably more to myself now, more isolated. That's just how I deal with it. I've isolated myself a little bit. I do my work and I go home. So it's just hard to be out. Sometimes you just don't want to talk to anybody about it. And wherever you go, say if I go out or something, someone will want to talk to me about it. So a lot of times I just stay home.
You said that when you see a
Hello, snarky ass angel. Ellie covered this up because of their connection with corruption, starting back with the MyLabs under the streets. Oh, meth labs under the streets. They say a lot of lowlifes would hang out and party at Seven Bridges because no one was out there. Could be. It could be. It could be directly related. Who knows? I mean, anything's possible.
A child out even here in town playing by themselves, that makes you think.
Well, that's a trigger when you see kids alone on just some side street or something. You just want to follow them home, but you don't want to scare them. It's like you just want to like grab the parents and shake them. It's like, it wasn't that long ago, 2 little girls disappeared.
Drew says he and his ex-wife Heather dealt with the grief in different ways.
We just grew apart. Like I said, I isolated. She did the opposite. So I think it'll challenge the best of marriages, and we had a good marriage. But it definitely ruined it. It was just hard. It's like most days you were just trying to get yourself through the day, and you know you got other kids, and I know that my other kids were affected because I don't think I was mentally there for them. I know that, but you just do the best you can every day.
Are you talking about? Are we talking? Is this about who's Travis Lee Evans? Oh, that's Shane Evans from Delphi, right? Shane Evans' uncle. So you think this has? You think Delphi and Evansdale are connected?
Like I said, I still had to work. I still had to make sure bills are paid and stuff like that. So you just got to work through all that stuff. And a lot of times you get done with the day, and that's all you did all you could do. You know, you're just exhausted, just mentally, physically. It's hard.
And though answers are slow to come in, he says he's grateful for the answers he does have.
The thing is like there's a lot of families that get nothing. So I'm pretty fortunate. Like I have good contact with the FBI, the DCI. A lot of families have their kids just disappear, and there's nothing. So I'm pretty fortunate. I found my daughter. My daughter.
See, I think a lot of times, you know, yeah, and I understand why investigators do that, but I don't think you can do one or two things. You can take what the family says as gospel, right, or you don't, right? And I think the same way about the Delphi case. I think that you know, they should have listened to Becky a little bit more. And I think it happens a lot in these cases where they just don't listen to the family. They just don't. They take it as kind of like okay, whatever, and then move on. But if they could just listen and focus in on what especially grandmothers, or focus in on what is being said and what was supposed to happen that day, right? They'd be a little bit better off. And I just don't think they do that in a lot of these cases.
Daughters, I know where she is. I know where my niece is at. I still want answers. I feel like until I get those answers, I'm gonna be like this. And I wanna get past this and on to the next phase of this, which would be putting this person in prison.
Drew remains in regular contact.
Person or persons, right? I don't like, I'm not going to go conspiracy all the way every time. This is Evansdale Snarky Ass Sass Angel. Sorry. Until there's like a lot of actual evidence of conspiracy, I just can't go there because it's just too much in these cases. So you got to kind of look at this through a lens of like forensics and just profiling. You know, I think there's enough of these cases out there that we know the type of individual or individuals that would do this. They're not everyday people. Not everybody is capable of doing stuff like this. So, you know, with deduction, you can say whoever did this is probably a control person, probably somebody who, you know, is not like you and I. So let's go to, I'm going to go here, get out of here, and I'll go to the Seven Bridges part. I mean, it could be, right? It could be a abduction type thing, child trafficking, stuff like that. But I don't think so. I don't think so in this case. So here's the Seven Bridges County Park here. And this kind of this is, I think, what is this, 201 here, the main road here. And then this kind of goes in and around. It's kind of like a loop here. There's another park on that abuts it here. But this is kind of where they were found in here. Nice place. I mean, this looks like a nice place. Definitely Hunter's Paradise in here. But it's like, why here? You know, it. Let's go back here to. So here it is here. I mean, this is 270th Street. This goes parallel to this here, and then there's a river here. I just think this was done to throw people off. There's 30 photos of dog snoring. Can you hear my dog snoring? It's too funny. I mean, this is definitely a remote place, you know. There's a deer. So it's definitely, you know, it makes sense to put somebody in here. But I don't think that this was done for no reason. All right, so let's go back to this. Hi. Want to come up? Yeah, I don't know. Evansdale to me is a little weird because I think it could be two people. I don't. If it's, in my opinion, if it's two people, I think that it was one to cover it up and then one to not cover it up. You know what I mean? It's probably like somebody who just kind of had to be involved as kind of like a cover up to it. All right, so I'm going to go back to this here. I just wanted to go over this because it's a horrible, like, just why would somebody do this? You know, it's just awful. All right, so let's go back to the printout. All right, so where were we? The girl's grandmother, Wilma Cork, told the press she saw the girls riding their bikes near downtown. They have a video of them driving the bikes by. I forget what road that was, but they definitely did see them driving by. So that's not just a rumor. Hunters came across two deceased bodies in the Seven Bridges Wildlife Park near Redland in Bremer County, a wildlife area about 25 miles from where the girls were last seen. And then it goes on to say on Thursday, December 6, 2012, so this is a good 5 months after, Chief Deputy Rick Aben the Blackhawk County Sheriff's Office held a press conference and announced officials were confident the bodies were those of Elizabeth. Okay, so here's the medical examiner. On Monday afternoon, December 10th, 2012, the Iowa State Medical Examiner's Office confirmed the bodies found were that of them. Kent Smock of the Evansville Police Department received confirmation Monday. Smock notified the family. No other information was released to police other than confirmation. So this is all about the trouble, the history of one girl's parents, Dan Morrissey. Separate cases, including one he was charged with assaulting his estranged wife. So they had issues there. Okay, so here's the 6 months after Lyric and Elizabeth were found, authorities announced on Monday they had 3 separate witnesses. Remember that, 3 separate witnesses who said they saw a white, older model, full-size SUV type vehicle similar to a Chevy Suburban or a Ford Bronco. So, and I know they stopped making the Ford Bronco, I think it was in 1998. They redid the Bronco, but not until way afterwards. So the Ford Bronco was parked on Arbutus Avenue on July 13th. The street meets up with the bike trail. So let's go back to that. We were just there. I mean, okay, so here we are back again with Arbutus Avenue here. So we were just there, right? And here's the trail. So it was parked kind of here, right? We all know the white Ford Bronco and the OJ thing. That's the first thing that came up. That's too funny. All right. All right. So just remember this kind of area here. And let's go to this image. So this is what I think when I think of Ford Bronco, right? This is the old famous O.J. Simpson vehicle, right? This was the white Ford Bronco. Now, this is a big vehicle, right? This is a massive vehicle when you're thinking about being in this area. So you would notice that, right? Better yet, if it was a, white Chevy Suburban, that's even bigger. I mean, that's a huge, monstrous vehicle, right? So you would notice that. So let's go back to here. So 2 witnesses parked on Arbutus Avenue on July 13th. The street meets up with the bike trail where the girls, I guess I could just go there. 2 witnesses said they'd seen the white SUV parked between 2 bike trail signs. All three witnesses said they'd seen the SUV sometime between 11:30 and 12:30. So I don't know why that matters, right? So they said, let me get rid of this here. They said between, how am I? 11:30 and 12:30. So up here, when did I say they were last seen? Okay, the girls were spotted between 12:30 and 1 p.m. on Gilbert Drive. So that's a half an hour after that white Bronco or whatever it was seen on the trail, right? So that doesn't make any sense. So they had a person of interest. Let's go back here. And I did literally drive up and down on the map all around those neighborhoods looking for a white. I think Steve and I had the same idea. We went driving around on Google Maps looking for a white Bronco or a white parked in one of the driveways or something like that. But I didn't see any. So. All right, so here was one of the suspects, DCI confident, Michael Klunder, no longer person of interest. I remember them talking about him. State investigators conducted a painstaking examination of potential similarities between the kidnapping and murder of Dayton teenager Kathleen Shepard and missing person case in Iowa. And in June 2013, a state official announced that potential connections were already being analyzed between Shepard's murder and the cook. So I think they ruled him out, right? Shepard 15 and another girl were kidnapped from Dayton on May 20th while walking home after school. Authorities say Michael James Klunder, 42, took the girls to a hog confinement lot where he worked and zip-tied their hands. The other girl managed to escape when Klunder took Shepard to another part of the property. Police say fishermen found Shepard's body Friday night, June 7, 2013, in the Des Moines River. So that's bizarre, right? Does anybody think he's involved? I don't. So, I don't know. I have to kind of do the whole percentile. Do I think this is a random accident? Do I mean a random thing? No, I don't. I don't think this is random. But I'd still put randomness here about 70%. But randomness to me, if it's like 100% or 80%, 90%, they probably already got the guy. I do put the probability of them knowing this person at like 30%. That's just my my gut on this. I think whoever took these girls knew who they were. That's just 30%, and I'm going to stick by that. Like 100% of the 30%, meaning I don't see how anybody gets those two girls out of there without them screaming and somebody noticing. Because I can go back to the map if you want, but I know that's a choke point in there, but to get those girls out of there without anybody noticing or anybody hearing anything, especially in that neighborhood, I think that's highly unlikely. It's just my opinion. Could be wrong, but what do you guys think? Not blaming anybody. I'm not saying anybody's responsible, but I put it randomness at like 70%, like I said, and then 30% not. And I think anybody gets those people out of there, those kids out of there, without screaming and far-fetched. That's just my opinion. All right, so I'm going to go to this thing that happened overseas here now, if I can find it. So I hope that clarifies some things. If you want to watch, I had the whole spiel on the Evansdale case in a couple of my earlier things. I think I did 3 of them. All right, I'm looking for a specific thing here. All right, we'll play this one here, and then so let's share this. I think, like I said, I think they know who did this. They just don't have the evidence to charge anybody. And I think the evidence was lost a long time ago.
After a woman's body was found inside a burned out car in the Lancaster area. Eyewitness News reporter Leo Stallworth says a person of interest has been.
Okay, so this has been surfacing too. This is Lancaster man arrested for murder of woman found in car after fire. There'll be more coming on this here. So let's play this from the beginning here.
Been booked on detectives announcing an arrest days after a woman's body was found inside a burned out car in the Lancaster area. Eyewitness News reporter Leo Stallworth says a person of interest has been booked on suspicion of murder.
As you can see, the garage of the home where the body was found, all boarded up. Detectives telling Eyewitness News they took the owner of this home, a suspect in the case, into custody last night. They say he was located and arrested in Kern County. He was booked for murder. His bail, $2 million. Investigators have been searching for Matthew Swistowski since the body of a woman was found in the trunk of a car in the torched garage of his Quartz Hill home in the 41,400 block of 38th Street West 2 days ago. We reached out to multinational aerospace and defense technology company Northrop Grumman yesterday, who tells Eyewitness News Swistowski is a former employee who hasn't worked for the company since May. Horrified neighbors saying off camera the victim was a school teacher in the area. We talked to neighbors, one saying during the wee hours of morning 2 days ago, they heard blood-curdling screams from what sounded like a woman at the home. Investigators say the coroner will determine a cause of death. Again, Swistowski remains behind bars, booked for murder. His bail, $2 million.
That's fantastic. All right, so we went over this. That's terrible. Which I don't want that one. We went over this last week here. This next one. This is about the Lindsay Shriver case here. She confesses to the murder for hire plot, and this was done a couple hours ago, actually. Let's go here.
I'm Vinny Politan. Great to have you with us here on Closing Arguments. This hour, we have a lot to get to. Let's begin with Lindsay Shriver. She had it all, folks. She had it all. There she is on Instagram. She had looks. She was a beauty pageant woman. She was a cheerleader in college. Fell in love with her college sweetheart who was on the football team. 3 beautiful kids. Mansion in Georgia. Private jet. And vacation home in the Bahamas.
Remember we did this last week. She was saying how innocent she was, and she hired those 2 guys to do this, and then she actually confessed to this. So.
But it wasn't enough. It wasn't enough. It wasn't what she wanted. What she wanted was at Grabber's Bar down in the Bahamas. That's where she had an affair with one of the locals, her Bahamian lover, and now she's accused.
You know, a lot of times you don't know why people do things, right? Even the greatest people in the world and the most intelligent people in the world are capable of doing inane acts, right? Like and it comes out of the blue sometimes. You just don't expect it. You wouldn't think of it. You wouldn't. But people are capable of doing the most vile things, man, and it doesn't matter who you are. So when it comes to these cases here, like the Evansdale case and Delphi, and especially when it comes to kids, I don't trust anybody. Hey, Charlotte, how are you? Good to see you. Glad you can make it. Charlotte's in the house.
Of conspiring with him.
That's why I don't trust my kids around anybody. Hey, buddy, it's True Crime Web. It's Steve is in the house. Hey, buddy.
To hire a hitman to murder her husband. Well, she's in the Bahamas. She's not locked up, but she's not
covering it like a big canvas, brother. Covering it like a big canvas. Mr. Steve is in the house. Mr. Steve and Mrs. Steve are the finest examples of human beings in the world. They're very, very, very wonderful people. I know Mrs. Steve is probably busy right now with the littlest Steve, but one of these days, Steve and I, and hopefully Mrs. Steve and all the other Steves will meet up at a Waffle House and we'll have a good old time.
Allowed to leave the Bahamas, but today was going back to court. Matt Johnson, of course, there he is, chasing her down as she enters court, trying to get released from the Bahamas. And
so I got a nice little story. We're sitting there waiting for we're doing our Christmas shopping tonight in Concord, New Hampshire, and we kind of do it in groups. 2 people go, and another 2 people go, and another 2 people go. So I end up waiting for like hours and hours and hours in the car. So I had the youngest daughter in the car, and we were just sitting there, and a cop pulls up, and I'm like, uh-oh, what did I do? So the cop gets out of the car, and he comes over to the car, and my daughter's sitting in the front seat of the car with her Christmas hat on, and I roll down the window, and he's like, "Hey, I just noticed Santa hat on you." So, anyways, he had this whole back of his SUV filled with nothing but Christmas toys, and he's like, "I got a whole back seat full of Christmas toys, and you can pick out two Christmas toys." And it was the craziest thing ever. It was the best thing. My daughter is now in love with this cop. She thinks he's Santa, and he gave her she picked out 2 lightsabers and some other stuff. I don't know. She actually took 3. She was only supposed to take 2, but he'd let her take it because my other daughter was in with my wife doing some shopping. And so, I mean, it was just a really cool thing.
Come back home for the holidays. So there's.
Yeah, I mean, you should have seen this cop's back. It was an SUV, so like the hatchback. There's like all of these toys, and I'm like, "Where were you?" And so, yeah, that was really cool. Thank you, Charlotte, for posting Steve's. You guys could post all of your links in here. I don't care. Same with Southern Gal True Crime. She's got a great page. Awesome people. Her lives are excellent. She's doing great.
There's Matt on the scene, and guess what? Joining us for all today's big developments, Court TV crime and justice correspondent Matt Johnson, live from Nassau in the Bahamas. Matt, great to see you. Good work as always there. Let's begin here. Lindsay Shiver's going home.
I thought I had another light out. I was gonna go. You got to be kidding me! Another light, really? And how did he know the car was off?
For the holidays?
She's heading home for the holidays. Nice to see you as well, Vinny. She had one wish for Santa, and the courts here in the Bahamas, they granted it. Even despite her husband taking the stand, being sworn in and testifying that he's afraid of her. She is now able to travel to the U.S. and leave for the holidays. Here's her reaction after. Lindsay, your reaction to going home. Your message for the boys. Mr. Wells, what's your reaction?
None of this guy.
Lindsay, are you excited to see the boys? Your message for your boys at home? What's it mean to be going home, Lindsay?
She's not going to answer you, by the way.
The former Alabama beauty queen not really answering questions, but smirking at times when I was asking her questions there. What we do know is that she is now heading home for the holidays. Her attorney offered this statement to Court TV right after she was released.
Oh, Charlotte, you're too funny. That was a classic.
Let's put that on your screen. Lindsay is thankful for the court has agreed to let her return to the U.S. so that she can see her kids.
Lindsay is thankful the court has agreed to let her return to the U.S. so she can see her children. Her attorneys will continue to prepare for trial, but she confessed. So what is she?
Her attorneys will continue to prepare for the trial, and we look forward to vigorously defending Lindsay because she's innocent. Shiver has not seen her kids, as you know, Vinny, since she was arrested back in July, and then since she spent 19 days at Fox Hill Prison here in the Bahamas. So now she's heading home, and she's hoping to start those visitations.
You know, it's interesting, since those 19 days in the prison versus the subsequent trips to court, she's beginning to look more and more like Lindsay Shiver from Instagram and a lot less like an inmate. I mean, it looks like she's doing okay. And hopefully she's in a good state of mind if she's going to see those kids. Now, you mentioned that we heard from Robert today inside the courtroom. How did that play out?
Right. So this is the first time that he's broken his silence in a lot of ways. He was sworn in. He had his attorney by his side. He was back in the States. So he appeared via Zoom. And this is what he told the court when he was asked. He said that after reviewing the indictment and the situation was close to happening. He was concerned for his safety of himself. And then he asked the court not to allow his wife, Lindsay, to be able to travel to the United States. And if she was granted permission to travel back home to the U.S., not allow her to travel to the state of Georgia at all. He told the court that he was so concerned because of this, quote, "For the physical and mental safety for my kids and myself, I'm thankful to be alive." Well, Lindsay Shiver had her back to the video screen during his testimony. She didn't look up at it. I did notice from time to time she was looking down, shaking her head in disagreement with what he was saying about his safety, and also anytime really that he mentioned the kids.
So whether or not she gets to see the kids, I guess it would rely upon what the family law attorneys are doing in the whole divorce custody settlement. Do we have any information about that, or have they been keeping that under wraps?
Well, it's a different system. It's a different country and a different court system. So what we did learn about the fact of her pending divorce is that there hasn't been any litigation because they've been dealing with the trial here. So now that she's going to be back in the United States, she's going to be able to attend things for her divorce, and then also those custody matters, and hopefully be able to see her kids. Her mom is going to be the go-between with setting up those visitations because, again, she's not supposed to have any contact with Robert.
Absolutely. That's understandable. He's the victim in the allegations. So, and again, it's always the best interest of the kids, and it may very well be in the best interest for them to see their mom. We'll let another judge or the parties work that all out. Let's talk about this criminal case, though. Did prosecutors lay out some of the evidence, something related to an alleged confession here?
Right. You know, and we've heard.
Hey, buddy. Yeah, you do that. Get a couple hours rest and drink lots of coffee because you're going to need it. It's always good to have you in here, Steve. Thanks for coming in. I appreciate it. Yeah, enjoy the sunshine. Bring plenty of change for tolls. That's for sure.
Heard about this alleged confession from time to time. And we heard that after the photos were sent and that text message allegedly saying kill him, that there was a confession after an investigation. So we were learning more about that today, more about the Crown's case against.
I love Florida. Like, Florida's probably one of my favorite states in the world, but boy, do they really charge you for freaking tolls down there. You get off one highway, you get on one highway.
Lindsay Shiver and the
It's another $5 worth of tolls. I know they have the Easy Pass, but boy, does it add up.
conspirators. So when the prosecutors had a chance to speak today, they didn't oppose her being able to travel to the U.S., but they did oppose the fact that her defense, Mr. Wells, kept on saying that she's innocent and that she never gave a confession. So they wanted to set the record straight, and they read from the affidavit. Here's part of it. They said during an interview with police and Lindsay Shiver, she was asked, did you tell Terrence Bethel and Farron Newbold that you...
So, did you tell Terrence Bethel you wanted to kill your husband? She answered yes. She answered yes. So I don't know what...
Wanted to kill your husband. According to the Crown, she answered yes. And then when she was asked by police and detectives, did Terrence Bethel tell you that he wanted to kill your husband? Again, she answered yes. And
Naples, I'll tell you, Naples, Florida is one of my favorite places on this planet. Other than, Myrtle Beach, Naples, Florida is, the only problem with Florida is the coffee down there sucks.
Vinny, so we're getting a glimpse at the case that they are going to be presenting come March next year.
Yeah, and my understanding in the Bahamas is a little bit easier to prove that stuff because there doesn't have to be this.
Like, if you get a coffee down there from like Dunkin' Donuts or any, you just basically tell them at the window to put the whole cow. Like, if you know, like, because if you say like milk or cream, they'll just put a tiny, like a minuscule amount of. So you literally have to say, just put the whole damn cow in there and call it a day.
Substantial step, like buying a weapon or setting up an exact time. But we'll see how that all plays out. Now that everything has changed for her, what are these new requirements that she has, these new bail requirements?
And grits, I don't know. Some people love grits, but it's arguably one of the worst things you could ever eat in your life. That and shoestring potatoes.
Right. And the big requirement that has changed in all of this, she's able to travel to the U.S., right? And when we're talking about just the magnitude of what she's charged with, in case you can't, a lot of people at home don't understand the difference. It's a different system, right? So the conspiracy to commit murder is actually on the same level as murder in this country. So she faces the same.
Southern Gal, I would probably, if it's one thing I'm never going to quit is coffee, ever. I just can't do it. Like if I had, the only way this is going to happen is with coffee. I tried tea years ago. Tea, no, it has to be, and the stronger the coffee, the better these days.
Same penalty of life behind bars if she's convicted. So here's her new conditions of release. Let's put those on.
Charlotte, you'd love Florida. White Sands. I like the western side better than the eastern side. But I like Cocoa Beach. We were just down there a couple of years ago. Cocoa Beach was fantastic. I've been to Fort Lauderdale, Miami, Orlando, obviously. But there's nothing like, like if you like waves, then the western side isn't for you. But Naples is fantastic.
On your screen. So under the new terms, she can travel to the U.S., will continue to wear the ankle monitor device. It's equipped to be able to be tracked in the U.S., is required to be at all court hearings, the pretrial hearing, and then, of course, her trial in the Bahamas. Required to stay at her parents' house, that's in Alabama, and stay away from Robert and his home. The only time that she can go to Georgia, according to the Bahamas authorities here, is when she has any court appearances, again, with custody or her divorce that's pending. But again, she's moving back home for the holidays.
If I don't have my coffee when I get up, I might as well just fall off a cliff. It's just not going to happen.
With mom and dad, they're the ones that paid that $100,000 cash bail, when she was released from prison, and they've been footing the bill, according to the court today, $7,000 to $20,000 a month, and that's been a hardship on them.
Wow. Now, the other thing is, the trip back to the U.S. could be a little different. Not flying in the private jet anymore. She's going to have to go commercial, I think. So go through TSA.
Yeah, she's going to be next to me and Coach.
There you go. Matt Johnson and Coach, folks. How about that? All right, Matt, thanks so much. Fantastic reporting.
Of course.
And have a great holiday season. Happy New Year. And I know you're going to stay
Right by the 3-year-old screaming child, Coach. Yeah.
all over this story. All right, let's bring in our think tank, folks. Join us tonight in the ATL, Atlanta, Georgia, criminal defense attorney Eklund Mercy.
All right, I think I'm going to switch gears here. She confessed. I wanted to do this one too. Let me. This happened over the week too. Of course, if you're drinking a lot of coffee in Florida, probably not a good thing. It's like wicked hot down there. All right, so I wanted to do this here. This happened in Prague, of all places. It was. This might be a little bit disturbing, but. So, of course, they're going to be talking about this shooter here in Prague. There we go.
With Prague, that horrific shooting, which has rocked the city, its worst ever mass shooting. Hardly surprising, considering that this guy, David Kozak, 24 years old, killed 14 people, injured 25 on a rampage through the university. Some dramatic pictures coming out of that, particularly of the students. All
This is in Prague. I mean, you don't usually hear about shit like this over here. Not saying it doesn't happen, but it's a little bizarre.
Who climbed out of the building and crouched on a ledge precariously outside to avoid this killing spree. And we're learning more about this guy. It looks as if he shot his own father.
So where am I? Right here, Miracle Hearts. Right here. I don't know if you can see it. Right there. That's my iced coffee. I have 2 of these a day too. Yeah. I love iced coffee. I can't drink, like I drink 3 or 4 cups a day of coffee, regular hot coffee, and then after that I can't go back to coffee again.
But we're hearing.
Look at these people.
He also ran.
These people were like, they were scared for their life, so they went out on the ledge here.
Randomly, the police think, shot dead a man and his newborn baby. How awful. There's that picture of the students crouching there. They're desperately looking for a motive, and they just don't know. And he had a massive arsenal of weapons and ammunition with him. And the police, of course, stormed the building in the end and thankfully shot him dead. But very mysterious.
It is, and whenever I appear on the show, it seems to me we have a story, and we're asking what on earth goes through people's minds to make them do this sort of thing. And yet, this is the most appalling atrocity, worst in Czech history, I think, and probably one of the worst in the world. And yet, it will simply disappear down the line of others as more follow its example, and we'll see. This is not the end. This is just a continuation of atrocities. It's impossible to explain what might make a 24-year-old take a machine gun out and simply indiscriminately kill, as you say, a father and his 2-month-old baby, his own father, and then either kill or mortally wound a couple of dozen others. young people. I mean, people who, like himself, were starting off in life. It's all beyond any sort of belief, isn't it?
And people have been looking through his social media and what he'd been posting in the days and weeks before yesterday, and seem to be suggesting now that he was influenced by a similar horrific shooting in Russia, where a schoolgirl went out on a shooting spree, and he seems to have posted things like, I want to do something similar. I want to be seen as a maniac. And it's very difficult to know if people are being influenced in that sort of copycat type way, what on earth you can do about that, and particularly when conversations are going on some quite strange platforms, sometimes on.
I have a hard time understanding some British accents, so I should put this on. There you go.
On the dark web and so on.
Yes, I mean, it takes us back to yesterday's discussion on the murder of a little Brianna. What does go through their minds? Where do they pick it up? They see it on the dark web or on the social media. And what we've got now, if you read the papers every day, about half a dozen stories each day about stabbings, usually fatal stabbings. And we've now got in Liverpool a stab cupboard, where you can go along if there's been a stabbing, ring 999, open this thing, which is like a defibrillator, and get out things to plug wounds with and put tourniquets on with. These are the emergency supplies now, which will be standard around the country, because stabbings are now 10 a penny. Shootings, wherever people can get hold of guns, are random and frequent. And I have no idea how on earth the authorities are going to solve that.
And let's not forget, it's basically the American way. I think America's gift to the world, if you like, is
oh, go screw yourself.
These weird sort of killing massacres.
And actually, perhaps one thing just before we move on from the Prague story to mention is, my belief is that Prague, or the Czech Republic, has quite lax gun laws. So, as Kevin's mentioning America, exactly. So you could imagine that this might be a stepping stone towards them tightening up those laws.
Well, we've got pretty tight laws now after Dunblane, but they still have machine gun killings and gang murders and so on.
Yeah, if people want to get a gun,
stop and search is the answer, and very much more of it.
Yeah, but if people want to get a gun, they'll get a gun.
Okay, well, that's the end of that. All right, so I'm going to go to this here, and then I'm probably going to get out of here. This happened too. This is a good thing here. This is part of this whole investigation with the Green River Killer. I wanted to play this here. They identified one of the missing teens 40 years later. Can you imagine that? But they did identify. So let's go. Hold on. Let me share this. Yeah. Yep, he did. That's too funny. Yeah, I wanted to shut it off right after that too. Sometimes people don't know what to say though. It's just like go fuck yourself, right? Like, ugh.
Good morning to you. Yet again, it was one of those family genealogy tests that led to success in solving this crime. It all started when the victim's bones, DNA inside of them, matched DNA given by the victim's mother. It took 40 years, but today we have a perfect match.
When they got my DNA, of course, it was a perfect match.
The shock is still very real and very raw for Donna Hurley.
When you don't have any answers, your mind always runs.
I mean, what a fantastic, just awesome closure to this case, if there could be any closure whatsoever. But thank God for technology.
Somewhere.
Donna's daughter, Lori Ann Rozpotnik, ran away from home back in 1983. 2 years later, Como's cameras captured this, the discovery of 2 sets of bones found in Auburn. One of those victims was coded as Bones 17. In the decades that followed, there would be no telling as to who Bones 17 actually was. Yet this week, King County detectives paid Donna an unexpected visit.
They thought might be my daughter, and I just kind of gave them a real startled look.
What exactly happened to this 15-year-old still unknown, yet at some point detectives say she came into contact with Gary Ridgway, the Green River Killer. During his trial, Ridgway admitted
I should do a thing on him. I should do, but I don't like to give these guys any popularity. But this guy was such a dick. Oh, what a piece of crap.
to dumping bodies in the location where Lori was found. Como's Keith Eldridge reported from that same spot on the day Lori's bones were discovered.
It is just 250 yards from where the skull of a Green River victim was found. It was just 2 years ago on this very...
This was done in 1985, December 30th, 1985. So that's a long time ago.
But 38 years later comes closure for Lori's family.
What I would like to do is bury Lori in her favorite spot. And that was her dad's right shoulder. And her dad is...
Oh, that just makes me want to break out into tears. That's just, oh my God.
Buried in Seattle.
We should mention that Gary Ridgway was convicted on 49 counts of murder back in 2003. One of the people he was convicted of killing was Bones 17. Ridgway is now in the Walla Walla State Penitentiary. Coming to you from Seattle this morning.
Yeah, Preston, police were called here to Linden Avenue around 1 this morning. This actually comes as crime is trending down in some areas as we wrap up the year. But the Seattle police chief and many others we talked to today say this grim milestone is a reminder of the work still left to be done. The crime tape went up and police combed for evidence where a man was found dead from a possible stabbing in North Seattle.
I mean, there's violence everywhere, but as far as Seattle, yeah, it's been crazy.
Police Chief Adrian Diaz showed up to report this homicide marks the city's 72nd, surpassing the previous record set in 1994.
But when you have a homicide like this, it's tragic for the family and it has huge impacts to the community.
Jim Fuda with Crime Stopper says he's upset but not surprised about the numbers, given the police staffing crisis and what he calls a lack of accountability for offenders.
Violent criminals are being released from jail and doing other things, and there's a sense that that people can get away with these things.
And complete shock from daycare owner Apollonia Washington, who has been outspoken about violent crime, including gun violence off 23rd and Jackson. Her learning...
Yeah, it's what did she do to anybody? You know what I mean? It's just... When you think of some of these crimes like that, like the Green River Killer, all of these guys that just... Oh, this is just so horribly sad. It's just,
Center was hit by a stray bullet in October, sending young children crawling to safety.
I shouldn't have to think about bulletproof windows when I'm giving good quality care to children.
She and neighboring businesses have since formed a coalition focused on public outreach to help vulnerable populations. And they're pressing city leaders to keep police resources in the area. She and her colleagues are encouraging other neighborhoods to take action.
Just like we're holding folks accountable to support 23rd and Jackson and around, there need to be other work groups created throughout the city.
Meanwhile, Fuda is hopeful for a turnaround in 2024 and urges current and incoming city leaders to tackle the drug problem that often leads to these horrific crimes.
It shows more heart and mercy to be able to take care of these people when they're not capable of making their own decisions.
You think the new city council could help push those changes?
Absolutely.
And Washington tells us that her coalition is willing to help other neighborhoods that are wanting to start up work groups of their own. Also, Chief Diaz this summer introduced a new task force aimed at tackling gun violence in hotspots like Aurora Avenue, downtown, South Seattle, and the Central District. SPD has yet to release statistics of how successful that effort has been so far. For now, live.
I mean, I was reading some stuff again about this, maybe not this case here, but that's why I played it. There's some people that think there's some sort of a SK going on out here in this part of the country. I'll have to do a little bit more research on that too, but there could be. I don't think it has anything to do with this one here, but
In North Seattle, Jackie Kent, Come On News.
Right now, Federal Way Police are looking for an armed and dangerous suspect accused of attacking a man who was exercising at a park, sending him to the hospital with serious injuries. This all happened before 8 this morning at Town Square Park in Federal.
All right, that's it for me. I'm going to get out of here. It's already 3 o'clock in the morning. I may come on Sunday. I think I might actually have Sunday night off too. So I may come on here for an hour or so Sunday night. But if I don't see everybody, I hope everybody has a great Christmas or holiday, however you want to say it. It's always good to have everybody in here. Thank you, everybody, for coming by. It's great to have people in here because if not, I would just be talking to myself. That's so funny. I appreciate Necessary Evil, my buddy, coming in. Thanks, buddy. Charlotte, of course. I know Miranda Lee was in here. Thank you, Miranda Lee, for coming in. Southern Gal True Crime, thanks for coming in. Check her out. She's, well, I don't mean check her out. Check our website, channel out. She's great. I'll be doing that later tonight, going over the replay from her for the Evansdale case. Miranda Lee was in here. Who else was in here? Miracle Hearts is awesome. She was in here. I haven't seen Karen in here for a while. She's probably busy doing other shit. It's a busy time for a lot of people. Miracle Hearts was in here. True Crime Web. Steve, of course. Steve, be safe in Florida. I hope you. I don't know if he's going down there for a case or not, but I'm going to need his help soon too, because I think I have an interview lined up with the Invisible Tears podcast person there. I think that's it. I think that's who was in here. But I'm going to get out of here. I'll play my. If I missed anybody, I'm sorry. Snarky Ass Angel. That Snarky Sass Angel was in here. And I'll keep you posted if anything happens. Other than that, I'll play my outro, and then I'm gonna get the hell out of here. It's it's almost 3:30. So thanks everybody for coming in. I'll play my latest outro, and I'll see you all later. Thank you guys. Have a great holiday.